Okay. Great. Welcome to Open Space Committee meeting, and I think I first do introductions and go around the room. I'm Julie Caswell. I'm the chair of the committee.
Chris Curtis.
Oh, sorry. I'm Alex Galloway. I'm the town planner. So it's nice to meet you, Meryl.
Hi, I'm Deborah Yaffe, and I'm a volunteer with Open Space and chairing the Indigenous Partners Working Group. Nice to meet you.
Alan Sweedland and a member.
Andrew Leapson and a member of the planning board, member of Connecting Community Initiative, and working with Alex, and I'm hoping Meryl, you on the playground steering working group. We'll see.
Okay.
We will see.
It's lovely to meet everybody. Thanks for welcoming me. And yeah, that's why I'm here. I reached out and spoke with Gabby and then Alex about the Pocket Playground idea committee. And so I'm really eager to hear more.
You will.
And as I remember, you need to leave the meeting at about 6.
Yeah, I'll have to hop off a few minutes before 6.
Okay, so we will turn to discussing a little bit about the playground group to be sure it happens while you're here.
And Alex, you have Meryl's contact info?
Yeah, I
Okay,
do.
because I don't. It'd be nice to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And just so that people know, I need to leave at 6:15 today.
Okay, thanks, Deb. So first order of business is to approve the minutes from the October 6th meeting. And this is one that Andrea did for us using AI
Yeah, what did
for
you use?
generative.
Well, so the funny thing really was, I think it was Pecomtuck Ridge. It got getting that wrong all the time. But it's helpful. Mostly, I think what you do is pare stuff away because it's just too much. But it takes less time than. Yes, yes. So it takes less time.
Was it ChatGPT or what did you use?
No, it's, I don't know, whatever.
The Zoom
Zoom
picture.
has an AI that records the meeting and
Oh,
grabs
oh,
it out
okay.
and then does a whole.
Right. And then someone sent it to me.
Yeah,
Yes,
I did.
okay.
Yeah, so I
So-
can send it.
So
Yeah,
if you're doing the minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
next
okay.
time.
So should I
Cool.
then send the minutes to you?
Oh, I'll
Is
just
that-
send the recording as soon as
Oh, the
we're done
recording.
here, and then,
Perfect.
or I'll send
No,
the
yeah.
text of the
Yeah, do the
minute,
text.
the AI minute
Good,
to you, and you
good.
can.
And then
Good.
Andrea worked on them and sent them to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect situation. I won't have to be paying so much time.
Yes, you can pay attention to what's we're talking.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought this, gave really good detail. And,
Amazing.
Yeah, I would encourage it, don't wait too long because it does screw some things up. And so if you don't remember exactly what, it can be
Yeah.
confusing.
I move that we accept the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor of accepting the minutes? Yes, I am. Okay, great, thanks. Okay. So we're gonna start with a couple of updates, and Alex asked to give us a update on the Pecomtuck Rock activities and anything else that you want to touch on.
Yeah, it's brief, but I just wanted to share that there's finally an end in sight. Nailed down who owns all the things up there. So we've had preliminary conversations. Delta Sand and Gravel. They own the cell tower enclosure closest to the rock and the edge of Pecomtuck. And so they did request if the town would consider another lease area of similar size, but inward away from the ridge, the edge of the ridge line. Just because their tower is over 50 years old, and so they're worried about having to replace it in the future and having to move equipment and stuff. but hopefully it would also be less, obstructive of the view because it'd be further away
Ah.
from the edge.
And do you, and the town earns money from leasing it?
We
yes?
do, yeah,
Okay.
we get like, I think like 30,000 almost just from the Verizon one alone per year.
And,
Per year.
okay.
Yeah, and then I'm not actually sure what the Delta Sand and Gravel lease was. I'll have to go back and check that one, but it was, yeah, it's pretty substantial and, for those leased areas. And so then,
Some of that money?
huh?
Can we earmark some of that money?
I don't know, I haven't figured out what it goes to yet, I could ask.
Yeah, they general
Um,
fund, I suppose.
Yeah, and then the Verizon, it's really actually Eversource lease. They actually asked if we would consider, kind of squaring off their utility enclosure rather than, duplicate in the same size, just in case they needed to build another tower. They just did theirs in, I think, 2016, 2020. They've had some updates. So they're relatively confident in it, but it does make it obviously easier in the future and they need a little more room or, don't have to decommission everything that's up there while the other one's being built.
Mhm.
So they were gonna talk about that, and then they also have a few, they actually also Eversource, I found out through a bunch of deed work, but anyway, they own this weird thing, it's called like a bunker, kind of on the northeast side. Or sorry, yeah, is it the northeast? Yeah, the northeast side, there's like this weird little bunker that's defunct, that's kind of like closer to River Road anyway, and like Old Tech Road. So that's actually described in the lease to Eversource. But it doesn't sound like they use it. But they were gonna check and just make sure that there's no other like utility poles or right of way areas that they need, because there is like the trail is actually like a fire egress in and out to those cell towers, and so
Right.
those will have to be excluded anyway.
Right.
But, just to make sure whatever assets they have up there are excluded, because once it goes to the legislature, it takes an act of the legislature to let them do anything up there ever again on it.
Mm.
So, they're gonna double check what they own up there and then be done with it. And then there's one more little defunct one that's up top, kind of like where it Y's out, is actually New England Public Media, who's changed names like 5 times in the last 5 years, and it's all essentially affiliated with UMass. We do have a lease with them. They said actually that the town owns the bunker, the building, and they just have like one like a radio equipment antenna piece up there that they.
So is it actually functioning?
Yeah, it is functioning and they use it and
Yeah.
they were very well aware of it and he's been up there a bunch
I
of
think
times.
it was primarily for Old Deerfield.
Yeah, it's
So they
transferred.
can get service up there.
It was like DA had it at one time and like, well, Deerfield used it and like, so it was just like a web and they changed names. So like who was on the lease was totally different.
And what was the sand and gravel name?
Yeah. Delta Sand and
Delta,
Gravel.
yeah.
So they're right here in Sunderland.
Yeah.
What do they need that tower for?
They actually
Dispatch.
have, I can't remember who leases it, but they have a bunch of like FCC regulated equipment up on there too.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Are
like
they
Warner
brand-
Brothers is also Delta Sand and Gravel, like they have a bunch of other like.
I think it's
Right.
for their
Businesses.
dispatch.
Think so?
So,
people, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and they have, I think, I can't remember if it's AT&T or Verizon, they have another big like utility provider. Usually too, they have a couple.
So they're
subways.
so they sublease.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would make money on this.
Yeah, well, they pay us too.
Yeah, yeah, I
Lease
know, I'm
money,
just-
so. Anyway, all that to say is that I'm just getting closer to defining our exclusion activities areas, so we should at least be able to hopefully bring this to town meeting. Annual town meeting, and protect it and get it done, so. I told them I'd like to know by the end of January. Survey it.
Mm.
Otherwise, we might just move forward.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity.
Yeah.
So.
If let's say Eversource wanted to square their area or whatever, they would still have to go through a permitting process if they wanted to
Build another antenna or anything.
build another
Yeah,
antenna.
both of them.
Both of them would.
Yeah, they're both FCC regulated, so they're for
Mhm.
sure. The FCC is kind of like the railroad in a lot of ways, where they have a lot of like weird authorities to kind of do whatever they want and you get out of some permitting. It's like, that's not to say that they won't have to go through
Mhm.
everything because they exclude themselves from it. So.
And the
Will be
planning board,
something.
yeah, had to approve the increase in the height of of the tower by the fire station in the last year.
Mhm.
So,
All right, right.
And they still have to come for site plan review and like, yeah, when they do major modifications, they have to go through planning. There's records in the last 2 years, upgrades and stuff.
Well, I would, you know, would be very interested in, if Delta Sand and Gravel wanted to move off the edge there. Because as you know, when you go out there, you know, there's their thing there and then here's the Pecumtuck Rock, but it's not a very large spot. That viewing
Right.
area is not a very large spot, and if that whole thing wasn't there anymore, that
Move
would
back even 20
Yeah.
feet, yeah.
yeah, would they remove what they had?
Well, we'd have to structure a deal such that,
Mhm.
you know, the lease area would be an addition and we'd have to move things and we have to figure that out.
And then we have rare species up there, right? There's some rare designated.
Plants,
Yeah.
yeah,
uh-huh.
which is funny because they're disturbance prone plants, so it's probably because they put the cell towers up there that they like. Another one of those, like you go in and you disturb things and that's when it like actually thrives.
Yeah.
So they actually haven't found it up there in a very long time because I asked DCR about that. too.
What is it?
It's like
What's the plant?
some, not like a phlox, but it's some little like ground. Just a plant.
It's just a plant.
Yeah.
The Open Space Committee. Yeah,
just a plan.
just a plant. Okay.
Well, they're not really protected under many things usually, so
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Oh,
That's
this
how
ground.
plants are.
Okay.
Well, just plants in
Plants in
general.
general.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Animals.
The qualified like endangered species act,
Yeah.
so.
So to come back to Andrea's question about earmarking, how would we approach that? Is that a select board decision?
Well, I think I'd be curious to know how much money we're getting, the town is getting.
Yeah.
And then if we said, we just, I don't know,
Yeah.
about 10% for the open space.
Good idea.
For like the additional lease line. or something.
And yeah, I know, it's curious, like, when are the fees reviewed? Like, how often are these contracts reviewed and?
The Eversource one was actually relatively recent, because I was surprised, and that was relatively easy to find. I can't remember what the Delta Sand and Gravel one was. The New England Public Media one was pretty old. Well, it wasn't super old, it was probably 2015, it was revived. Because I think it was when it switched from like DA to this New England Public Media or whatever they were at the
And,
time.
you know, we don't have to done
Yeah.
tax exempts, but
Yeah,
Verizon, Eversource, Delta Sand and Gravel.
yeah.
They can
Eversource
contribute.
is, I think like 30 to 40,000 plus like a 2% assessment on some metric of how they track their usage up there. And I just don't remember what Delta Sand and Gravel was. New England Public Media was like $500 and some advertising. Like it's kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So if you don't ask, that's another issue, but it's
Yeah.
NPM
Yeah.
is tax exempt.
Yeah, and we asked
but the
Eversource
others-
if they're even using that weird little bunker thing I was mentioning, because if they're not, then, you know, we can at least like maybe get rid of that.
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
and
where
just
is that?
restore it or something. It's weird. It's like
That-
way
that
over
Pine
here.
Neck.
This old Pine Neck Road, and that's,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, some
Okay.
weird. Just labeled concrete bunker.
Have you seen it?
I don't,
I'm trying to
I'm
remember.
not, ringing a bell with me, where
Yeah.
off is it?
Maybe take a picture of this.
Well, Julie has it.
Oh, you
She
have
actually
it.
sent me that.
Oh,
packet,
okay.
But
Concrete bunker,
Hmm,
where is it?
it's on, the green.
that rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Looks big.
I know exactly where that is, that belongs to them? What
Well,
was it doing out there?
it's weird. It belongs, I think it belongs.
work
to
on
us,
it,
and
It's
it-
back in the woods, you know, when you're on the Pecumtuck Ridge Trail and you're about to go up, you go by this weird, yeah, it's,
Concrete.
what do you call those? Concrete brick
Oh,
bunkers,
No,
Cinder block.
cinder blocks,
it's not, it doesn't sit up.
no, it's down.
Was it a war? Relic?
I don't know. what-
It
I
was
could
part of
never
the utility
figure out
when
what
it was like singular
There's-
wireless or
well-
Western Mass Electric co-owned it.
There is some very weird cables going in there, and I think Deerfield probably had electricity for when it had a ski
I can
field.
send you this.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it won't have all my
They did have
chickens
a-
scratched,
have
but
a-
you could actually
Yeah.
create.
But maybe when I'm up there, I can just, you know.
It could be a DA thing.
Okay. Very interesting.
Huh.
Um,
So anyway,
So
we're
Cory,
working on it.
Can we ask you to figure out for us what the town
Yeah.
is?
Yeah,
running,
that's
and then we
awesome.
could agitate about that.
Thank you, Alex. That's
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what needs to be all nailed down for us to move forward. And we certainly did not have that nailed down a year ago. And so we're making progress for sure, definitely. Right. The other item, update that I had was the Community Preservation Committee. We did submit the grant application for $100,000 to establish a conservation fund, and that's supported by Open Space Committee and the Conservation Commission. And that will be reviewed by the committee on December 17th at their meeting. It starts at 6:15, so anybody who can attend, that would be useful.
Say it again, what is it?
December 17th at 6:15, it's all Zoom. And that's CPC. I just got an email from Kathy Sylvester, who is the chair of the committee, saying that the committee would like to know exactly how this is gonna work. Like, how is the fund going to, I understand, well, I think how the fund has to be set up from a financial point of view. It has to be, has to be a separate account in the town of Deerfield. I'm not so sure about the rest of it, so I have to do some research on that to see what other towns have done. And they also had the inquiry of, could you show us what a warrant article would look like?
What just got passed at the special town meeting about this? Didn't something get passed about this? No? Okay, I know what I'm thinking. Okay, I thought I saw.
Only Steve Mill.
Yeah, I know that's true.
That was the only.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll have to work on that.
So we want to just look at some examples from other towns and
Yeah.
see how they sit there, so what it can be used for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know of other towns that have?
Yeah,
them?
I was looking at the Community Preservation Coalition website. They have, Northampton has one, Amherst has one. So, and they have a sample one that can be used for housing funds. And they suggest that housing funds are more complicated than conservation funds and have to be more, the structures need to be more elaborate. But they don't show an example for just a plain conservation agent. So I think we'll be able to dig one up.
Nick Rossi from DCR, because I asked him, because I think I was talking like 8 million things, so it fell off the radar. But in my notes, I have he recommended talking with the Concom Commissioner David Gold in Plymouth, because they've had one for quite a few years, so maybe they could give you some good,
David Gold.
Yeah, Gould, Gould. I've got a phone number if you want it.
Yeah.
It's 508-322-3366.
508-322-3366.
Yep.
Okay.
And then he also recommended town of Groton, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they didn't contact us.
Okay. Great, that's very helpful.
I can talk to my work partner is Wayne Fiden, who's the
Mhm.
former planning director in Northampton, talking about theirs.
Excellent.
Yeah, maybe more relevant than Plymouth.
So I think the, the conservation or the Community Preservation Commission or committee is in a period of sort of becoming more structured, I guess, and more, we have committee members who are, concerned about the rules under which committees get, or projects get money and how they're being evaluated, and so it's getting more formalized, and this is an example. But it makes sense if we're doing $100,000, we will have a very good plan about how that would work.
Are you getting any read at all about whether you think this be supported?
I think it has quite a bit of support.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Excellent.
In part because the committee has recent experiences with APRs that have been, the timing of when the APR was coming through and when the town meeting, there wasn't matching up very well. And we've got the flexibility of the fund is very attractive as an idea.
And
On the other hand, if you want it to be too flexible, like, yeah, let's buy whatever.
Well, and at the meeting that the CPC held, asking people to, what are you interested, what should the CPC be focused on? And then people got to vote with their little stars. The Conservation Fund got a lot of stars. It was one of the leading, things of the people who were present in the room.
Great.
So,
Good. So, Andrea, let's turn to you and do a little.
okay. Again, what am I calling it? Calling it the playground steering working group, I guess. We went to, several of us went to a conference and they talked about creating steering committees. And so that's what we're thinking of this as. Not a committee in the sense of being a full-fledged town committee, but being a working group that's coming off of the Open Space Committee. So
it's committee of.
it's a working group of the Open Space Committee. So I've spoken to Alex, who has agreed to be on it. Gabby, I can't remember her last name. It's Richard. I can't remember. Richard Harrington. Amy Battisti, who does things with young children through Frontier Regional Schools, and apparently Meryl, who has been recruited. I can't remember who. Oh, Gabby recruited Meryl, I believe. We are going to have our first meeting, our first gathering. Don't want it to be. It's not official. So our first working session this Thursday, and we will start chatting. There are so many regulations around playgrounds, which Alex, showed me. It's like, oh my God. So this will be a slow process, I fear. As I said originally, my 3-year-old granddaughter, I hope, will not be in college by the time we accomplish getting a playground in town. I asked Kathy Sylvester if she would like to participate too, because she was one of the people who mentioned that it's important to her as well. And she said, I'm on 4 other committees. So I don't think that she will. We'll keep her apprised of what's going on. But that's where we are.
So are you thinking this is playground specific? Cause I know you had interest in pocket parks as well.
So I think of Pocket Park as a place where there's a small playground. So not like the North Main Street enormous piece of land kind of place, a playground or park, but something smaller. So I actually was in Hartford last week and took a picture of a place that I'm thinking, I mean, small, like this. It's got a structure, it's got a play structure that you can climb, and it's got swings. Not big. So it would take a small footprint. And we could go bigger, but I'm thinking about pieces of property the town owns that are not very big, that would be the start. Ultimately, we have this piece of land down the street that Ellen and I have talked about with some other folks, and at some point, I would like there to be a playground on that. Who knows what else will go on that piece?
Sorry about this.
Which one?
Yeah, that North Main
North
Street
Main
that the
Street.
town bought with the hope of putting in soccer fields.
Yes, I went there.
And then,
Yeah,
and that it was, the kibosh was put on that. But we still own that,
Mm-hmm.
so who knows? So right now I'm thinking about small pieces of land. Alex and I drove around town
Yeah.
and we identified at least 2 pieces of land that would be good in our opinions. And that's where we are so far. There are several other small things that I've also identified, but the regulations may preclude even attempting to do those things. So we're thinking small to start, and we'll see.
Kind of like Groff Park in Amherst, right?
Well, that's bigger.
Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
my husband used to play baseball there. It has a
No,
baseball
I'm thinking
diamond.
about that little park.
So the one in
Yeah.
downtown,
Yeah.
that was,
Oh,
Isn't that
the
Groff?
youth,
no,
Grub
Okay.
Park's a big.
it's a big park.
Okay.
No, there
Get
was
the
an
name back.
area, it's kind of like that.
yeah.
That there used to be a house in the center
Yeah,
of downtown Amherst,
Mhm.
and now there's a lovely
Little
park
park,
there. Yes,
kids park.
yes,
Mhm.
that's even bigger than what I envisioned for the 2 pieces of land we're talking about, but something like
Yeah. What'd you identify? What would it be?
what I identified. So one is at the foot of Mount Sugarloaf, where the baseball diamond is.
Oh, yeah.
It's very possible that the state owns that. The
Mhm.
baseball diamond is still being used, or yeah, I think it's used for Little League kind of thing, so, or whatever Little League is called these days. So that is still being used, but there's land outside there's a fence on Sugarloaf that sort of delineates where the baseball field ends, and there's space in front of it. That would be nice.
Mm.
There's already a parking lot there. Clearly people recreate in the area between Sugarloaf and baseball diamond. That would be nice.
Yes.
That'd be at one end of town.
Mhm.
And then the other is behind the new library. We're sort of next to the new library.
where I was wondering about that.
There's
possibility.
we identified a little piece of land
Yep.
that is gonna be behind the town hall, library. That'd be a great place because
Outside
there's
of
already
Riverbank.
parking.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah,
and take your kids out of the library, go play. There's also the baseball diamond is
Yeah.
there too. So if your kids aren't playing baseball, they can play on this little park.
Yes, because people use that. They walk across, from the
Mhm.
baseball and into the library.
Yeah, so one of the good contributions that Amy Battisti can make here, so she can't defend herself or whatever, or deny it, is that we need to be in good relationship with the library, because we don't know if they would be willing to give up that little piece of land. I don't know who owns it. It's town land. But who would have say over it?
Right.
But we're gonna pitch. that.
Yeah, I think the trustees actually are on it.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure that out. And given the new footprint of the town hall, and, you know, it should all be, we're hoping we can carve out a piece of land in that. And so that's why I think of it as Pocket Park Little.
Meryl, you have
Do you have questions? or
comments, questions?
Will you be able to come on Thursday?
Unfortunately, I'm in class Thursday night, 4 to 6:45. So I'm not sure the timing. My guess is it's during that time.
Will that regularly be a thing for you, or?
It's the last class of the semester, so it'll. So for this semester, that's the last one. So I don't think I'll be able to, but I'd love to share if there's an email chain going. I'm not sure the topics on the agenda for the first meeting, but I could, share a couple of things if that's useful and helpful.
The other thing is perhaps you and I could meet.
Oh, that'd be great.
Coffee, lunch, something, and you can tell me what your thoughts are about that. I'll get Alex, send me her.
I think it's the
Contact
first
info.
of many meetings too.
Oh,
so
yes.
it's not a big
Okay.
deal.
That's great. And then something I was just going to share. So I'm on One Cross Street, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the neighborhood, the Graves Eastern Cross neighborhood. But our neighbor at 5 Cross Street purchased land and created a garden space that they have really opened up as a community garden space. And we have, as a community, as a neighborhood, have hosted since this summer 3 gatherings, really centering in that space. So just it's related, but also a little different. But something we've really been noticing is the intergenerational component and how much all people of all ages. Our last event in their garden and their sort of their pocket park space that they're so nicely sharing with our community. We had neighbors. Youngest neighbor was 5 years old, and our oldest neighbor 101, who came to a movie night. So I think there's some interesting also conversations maybe that you've already had, but something I'm really curious about is that sort of intergenerational component and draw to these spaces because people really want to gather and be in community.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, just so you know, there are several grandmas who are pushing these pocket parks.
Yeah,
So, when we get
that's wonderful.
I love it that these 2 pieces of land are so walkable too,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Then
great.
we'll think about Deerfield because they're both in South Deer.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much. That's great, great news to have that group up and running. Deb, do you have any?
I have an update.
Yes.
So we got the
So
grant.
So this is,
Oh,
yeah, so,
good.
Meryl, Deb is the leader of our Indigenous Partners working group.
So we applied for the Cultural Council grant, so thank you all for supporting us doing that. And so we received, or what can receive $500 for the history talk. So I haven't talked to David Brule yet, who agreed to be one of the speakers, and I think he told me his fee was like $250. And we were thinking to have him partner with somebody else, someone I had in mind, who we've had several conversations with, and he has a good relationship with David, is Ite Santana, who is Nipmuc, Chagamagabong. I'm gonna decimate that name. But he's on the tribal council, and he's also started, he has very good relationship with the Nipmuc Hasamanisco band. And so it would be, I think, a nice bridge. He's also started, he's worked a lot with some people from Ocotillo, which is a native cultural center up in Ashfield, and he started a hunting and kind of a hunting club and teaching skills around Indigenous hunting. So in any event, I think the two of them would be really great to partner with. But I'm going to meet the Indigenous Partners Working Group is going to meet next week on Monday, and so we can discuss that and see what would be sort of amenable there and work out. And I spoke with Candace, and so she said, yeah, the community room, that would be great to have in our new community room in the library. And she said, because I think David's talk, David, does these history talks, and this will be focusing on Deerfield and on the Pecumtuck area, and they can be very popular. And so I think the last one in Sunderland Library was like 75 people. So if we wanted to look at capacity, Candace was suggesting the church, the sanctuary where the library is right now is kind of a really nice space.
That's not a
And-
sanctuary. That's the meeting hall.
Yeah, but the sanctuary in the church is
Is
even
that even
bigger.
open? I'm not sure that's,
No.
is that that's
Oh.
not available.
It's not available?
No.
You can
Okay.
out when I go in.
It's very
That-
nice.
Not sure
Oh,
that- not sure-
really?
I didn't check the floors are.
Oh my, well, wait, because there's
She
a
said she's doing
stage.
that. Yeah, the
on side
stage.
She's at. That is
Okay.
super nice.
Okay,
Then there's the sanctuary with all the
Alright.
church pews. That was the historic.
maybe she's talking about the place where the
The other
stage
two
is.
they're currently in, beautiful. Go for
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
100%.
For
Full
sure.
send that. But
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
other side, we got a CPC grant to do some structural engineering
Oh,
and make
okay.
sure that's even
Up to-
somewhat compliant
All
and
right,
could
gotcha.
support multiple bodies. in
So
that
maybe
meeting
she meant,
space.
maybe she meant the part, I haven't been to.
I hope she meant that.
She must have meant the part, there's a stage there, which I haven't
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, if you walk in where the old library or where the temporary library
Yeah.
is operating, they kind of like put a bunch of shelves in
Oh,
front of it, but it is like a.
Oh, okay,
I don't
that's
know
a
if I have a
stage.
photo of it. But yeah,
All right, well,
I might.
in any
It's
event,
beautiful. That's
Yeah,
what I would say.
I think
Yeah.
in the new library, it would be great to have it there. And maybe the
Agreed,
capacity,
agreed.
I'll have to check what the capacity is. But in any event, we did get the grant, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, great.
So, yeah, so we can go ahead
when
with
do you
that.
think you might be thinking about for,
I mean, I think we were thinking like the spring,
yeah,
but it would be a nice
Yeah,
way
be a good
to
timing.
inaugurate
Right.
the library
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the open space work and, yeah. So, that's kind of it. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, the criticism that's come up around, what's history, what history are we going to be presenting? Yeah, whose history? There's a lot of kind of controversy coming up, and that's there, I think, just present in Indigenous communities about who is telling the history of the area, because this area has been important to so many people, and the original people of Pecumtuck have spread out and went to other tribes. So I think for our purposes, as part of the open space, as part of the municipality, we're kind of looking to be as inclusive as possible, to have a broad kind of look at history, past history and present history, who's here now. And that's where we're at right now, but at least our working group, we're talking, but we are not in any position to determine who is, the teller of the history, who is the most authentic Indigenous person. That is not something that I'm interested in doing at all. And yeah, it's not our place. So that's where it's at so far. And yeah, we've been doing this work and kind of just getting a lay of the land and getting to know the people that are here now, the somewhat peripherally just listening to lectures and yeah, and also knowing what the conflicts are. But as white, people of privilege, we're not going to wade into those conflicts. It's not for us. So that's where it's at so far. and you've all been abreast at some of, the emails. And I think yeah, I mean, I might have some concern about what could happen in terms of history talks, if somebody would be against what we're telling or whatever, but I think we're just gonna go ahead and plan our history talk and yeah. And just hold that. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or we wanna go further into this, but that's where it's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and the working group have, started with this idea. We talked to many people, we're just not in any kind of situation of deciding who has the right to speak and who doesn't. The approach of the working group has been perfect, I think.
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean it's easy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, but we'll keep you abreast. I mean, we're gonna meet and then we'll, keep updating around this history talk and we'll have, a meeting with David and see what. Yeah, but he's interested, he has room, I've already talked to him and so.
Yeah, so you probably would need to talk to Candace, I would think relatively soon.
I talked to Candace.
For schedule and.
Oh, yeah,
and-
yeah.
And scheduling. the
Oh,
room.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably see
course.
her, soon anyway, so. Yeah, because I think the library is opening
Good. Yeah.
after January, so. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Congratulations on it.
Yeah.
man.
I
That's
know,
great.
I was,
And well, segue that can also be used as part of our match with our mass trails.
Yes,
how does that work?
We just say, we're putting, here are these additional supports that we have.
Yeah.
One of which will be this grant, but.
Nice.
Now sort of, go to a later item sooner, but I have been talking to Kathy Sylvester about our $18,000 match that we had in the 2025 round. And we did not resubmit in 2026, but once you get the grant, you have basically 3 years to use it.
Mhm.
And she has said that she views it as being totally okay for us to say that we have this $18,000 to use as a match to Mass Trails. She's not, they have decided that they would not support us using it for anything else, like design.
The CPC.
Yeah, the CPC is saying,
Yeah.
the warrant item was specifically, this is a match.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
understandable.
that's what you can spend it for, but you have an additional 2 years to spend it,
Mhm.
so.
Good.
So if we did want to use it for design, we would have to go back to them with a new article.
We would have to do a new grant proposal, yeah.
And the deadline was November.
And this year's thing is done.
The problem.
Sorry, we missed that.
Yeah, well, it
We
was,
didn't know about the
yeah,
Mass Trails grant.
we didn't know, it was like a no-win situation.
And can I throw this out there?
Mhm.
If we get it approved to have conservation fund, do we appeal to that for some of the design work? She's shaking her head no.
If we design it that way.
Mm.
Right?
Well, not usually, right? It's considered only.
I think it's.
Is it only for land purchase? I thought we.
Well, it's land acquisition, it can be,
Enhancement.
it can be enhancement, it can be, I believe that's correct, it can be getting, right of ways.
But it couldn't be used for design.
I thought it was mostly land
The
improvement.
actually-
We'll put that in
Think-
our,
think about it,
in
yeah.
our research mode here. There was I think a rather long list. Things that you could do with it.
And that was provided by who?
That's on the Community Preservation Organization.
Yeah.
Statewide.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of their
Community
guidance.
preservation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it on their website?
Mhm. But the other thing to consider, of course, is that we as the Open Space Committee are not the controllers of this fund. The
Mhm.
Conservation Commission is will be controlling this fund, and hopefully we'll have a very close and great working relationship, but it will be a broader, or a broader group of people, or a different group of people, I guess, actually, who would be making these acquisition decisions.
And is that mandated that has to be concurrent?
Yes.
I think it's in statute. That's why I was saying, I'm pretty sure it's only for land acquisition. That's why they call it a land trust, not
Yeah.
like a recreation trust or like, something
Yeah,
more broad of a
and-
term.
Yeah.
I'm
You don't have-
probably getting mixed up. I was looking at the park grants and other things recently, so I think, yeah, I know it's.
I could be wrong. You could be totally right. It's
I
been a
know
while since
for
I've looked.
sure it has the Conservation Commission will be the deciding. Will be in charge of that fund. So if the Open Space wants to recommend to the Conservation Commission, we really think we should spend $50,000 on X, Y, and Z. That will be us making
An appeal.
appeal, a presentation to the Conservation Commission. Circling back to the big picture, we, as you know, since we met last time, which was quite some time ago, almost 2 months, we did learn that we did not get the Mass Trails. But Chris and I were on a call with Amanda Lewis, as we've written to you, on November 18th, and we both came away from that feeling like she was very, very encouraging. She said this is a great plan, it's well written. I had she gave us the impression that you got very close to being funded.
Like the only reason we didn't get funded was there were so many applicants that just didn't have enough money to go around.
There's a, yeah.
She really encouraged us to reapply. Really said we didn't have to change too much about the application. Do that.
One of the things that I didn't realize that she talked about was, that they have, I believe it was $16 million altogether. Does that sound like too much? Well, let's say it's 16, I'm not sure. Most of it is for these big, like the Cape Cod bicycle path type of connecting trails that are
Yeah.
to allow people to get out of their cars, to shop, to go to work, etc. That's how they define it. And so those are both big, those are big projects and they're expensive. So the amount, I think it was only $1 million that is in the recreational trails
Oh, wow.
program, which is the area
Pretty small.
that we're.
That is, yeah.
And if we're asking for 100,000,
Mhm.
which I think we should ask for more than we did last time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's gonna, probably not 100,000, but we're asking for a big chunk of that.
And do they ever fund partial? I mean, will they say, oh, you asked for 100,000, but we'll give you 60? Do they do that? Or they just reject you out of hand if you've asked for the wrong amount or they don't have that?
I don't
Question.
know.
I'm not sure that they do.
Because there is a budget that gets submitted, so,
Yeah,
okay,
I think it's kind of take it or leave it.
yeah, okay. Just wondering.
so,
So does that mean do you guys need help preparing the?
Yes.
Okay.
When will that be resubmitted?
February
Yeah.
2nd.
Holy moly.
That's right, that's why, yeah.
Yeah, so we because of them taking so long.
And are they shifting the date by which they're gonna tell people? Are they-
No, but they have hired a bunch of new people.
Yeah.
February 2nd when they open or close?
Close.
It's already open.
Jeez.
Mhm.
One thing on the environmental justice too is that,
Mhm.
did we say anything about the fact that we do have a Indigenous working group?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
And that we're right next to Greenfield, which definitely does have economic justice, and think,
I'd say it's economic. You have both in environmental,
Justice. Yeah. So.
yeah, equity.
She said, yes, she did, she mentioned that we had the Indigenous Working Group. And I think we basically said in the grant, I think, that we really don't have large environmental justice populations, but she said, you could say a lot more, you could say that there are, Sunderland, Greenfield, but also if you could talk about ways in which you would make this asset more visible to
Yeah.
people and more accessible, or
Yeah.
that would really help
And that
to be able to
is
say more about what we're
the goal of having that be part of what we.
so I also want to point out, I don't know how this would fit in. There, right before the March for the Food Bank, there were articles about food insecurity in Franklin County.
Mhm.
And there were figures given for each town.
Mhm.
411 people
I
in
know.
Deerfield are getting food aid.
Wow.
Mhm.
So I don't know what that percent is of the
But even the county number should be included because the trail is not just,
so I
focused on
mean,
here.
well,
Yeah.
but yes, of course, but also, how do you determine what's
That's a pretty.
an economic justice? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
When you're looking at equity, right? I mean,
Well,
we are the poorest county in Massachusetts, Franklin County,
Mhm.
so.
Well, I was thinking
Yeah,
that.
That's what
I'm
I
sure that Franklin, I think is the poorest now.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you can use that information.
Definitely.
Well, the proximity to Sunderland, I mean, all of Sunderland is an EJ community. That's what I was asking.
Yes, we, right.
Looking
Sunderland.
at,
Yeah,
Interesting.
and so like one of the other things you can do or talk about potentially is like your signage could be, written both in English and whatever an expert on language is. In your area to be more inclusive. So it's like a pretty easy design thing. You can add in
Wow.
that as minimal cost, but also just creates more of that facility. So it'd be an easy
Yeah.
add.
That sort of reinforces another theme of Amanda's, which was, if I was reading this grant proposal and I was not familiar with Deerfield, I would miss some of the things that you are talking about, would not have come across to me very strongly. For example, how this contributes to the connectivity of the, we talked about it, all these things we mentioned, but she just said,
The reviewers are not from Western.
they're not
Massachusetts.
from Massachusetts, and you say, hey, it's next to the Mount Sugarloaf Reservation.
Well, and even if they are, like, have they been to every single park? Yes, they're in Mass. There's like, unless you've been here, like, out in the woods every day for, 30 years, unlikely if you've ever visited ever. You always should write everything, like a
They have no idea.
always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think she basically said we assumed too much. And
They're just spelling it out.
We described it verbally, but what she said was we need a map.
Yeah.
And that is, the question maybe for the group is anybody good at doing maps? Because we need a map that sort of shows connectivity.
No, I'm just pointing to you, but Conscom talked about the fact they have a grad student who's working with them.
He's our con agent right now.
And he's supposed to be very good at
He's got
mapping.
Yeah, he's
The
got
guy
art
I
crafts,
was telling you.
so he could do it. We also are trying to change our license, because I have a map viewer for Esri, but our account, I thought it was B, that, cheaper account, because we just pay consultants to do all of our analysis. Nobody actually sends their data appropriately and working with FERCog, we're actually talking about upgrading our, and so I think that's more easily.
And the attendance numbers of the use of Sugarloaf are very high for
Yeah.
Western Massachusetts. Is one.
There's a tracker for that.
I think there is. I think there is
That's
a
right.
published statistics on use. It's very, very, very high level.
Yeah, there's probably a way that we can really highlight that.
If you are able to get those numbers, that would be really something you could do to help us. But just coming back to the map for a second, I think what we're talking about is more of a conceptual map. I think we want to show these properties, but we want to kind of show connectivity. So
Yeah,
sort of
regional
like
significance.
arrows kind of showing, if that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Mhm.
ownership, like where does UMass on the net, where is it, that trail go? Like, I think we
Mhm.
use the base map from the trail FERCog gave us.
Yes.
And then,
And just-
and move it over and incorporate the river trail loop and stuff.
And I think FERCog would be willing to work on it, Ryan.
Yeah, we could ask Ryan if he'd be willing to even just do it.
Yeah.
Do you know who has the data for that, the trail that you mapped?
The trail.
Or like the dots, like in the application, there's a couple
Yeah.
maps, but they have this. It looks like they probably
Pete did
GPS
those.
it. Oh, Pete,
Pete Westover.
okay.
Westover did those.
If you can ask him for like the shape file or the layer file, whatever he has, you could give them to Ryan and ask him.
I can ask you about that.
Sounds like the grant just needs a little tweaking.
That's what she said, basically.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
little.
I mean, because it's up, just thinking back in my head, I would have to kind of reread the grant, but I think we really highlighted that. Yeah, our region isn't just, for people in Deerfield, it's really a center that
Yeah.
people come to from all over.
And
right?
there were word limits, weren't there?
Yeah,
So that's
Oh,
the.
yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, not, where they really get you is, they don't really have, most area parts of the grant, they don't have word limits you can write, but they have an overall, well, I think, I don't know, 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
And
If you put
they
something
don't
in, you
tell
gotta take something
you
out,
that
right?
until the very end. Oh,
areas
gotta
that you can-
compress pictures.
Uh-huh.
The other thing I think that we'll really emphasize, and I've been
Yeah.
in contact with staff at Connecticut River Greenway State Park, so DCR, is emphasizing how this enhances how our project enhances the Connecticut River Greenway and park and forwards its development and put this great new asset that would be adjacent to the Connecticut River State Park, Great Greenway Park, and so on and so forth. So again, it's a matter of emphasizing what this offers. And I don't think at the bottom, we're saying that we're gonna do anything differently. We're gonna fix this piece of trail and we're gonna plan this other thing. So that's not really changing. But it's more of this.
Framing of it.
The framing.
Yeah.
So one thing I was kind of thinking about, rather than just tweaking the
Mhm.
application and resubmitting, is whether we want to consider if this trail on the one I'm calling the Riverview Loop is an accessible trail or not.
Yes.
And if it is, then does that qualify us for a different pool of funds than it would otherwise be competing for?
Mhm.
Through the state, do you have a source of funding in mind?
Well, it's within Mass Trails, they've got these
Ah,
different pots of funding, but it's wasn't entirely clear to me how they all work, even after talking to Amanda.
Yeah.
So I want to maybe follow up, do some follow-up questions with them about it.
Mhm.
I came away from this with the sense that the accessible trails pool was the larger pool of funds. We were talking earlier about how there's only $1 million.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Everybody in the state's competing for this small little pool of funds. Can we compete for a bigger pool of funds by making the trail accessible, and then maybe we, have a more competitive application? I guess we also need to talk to Angie too.
I finally had a little conversation, but an exchange with Angie today.
Oh, good.
And I just said, hey, the Health and Space Committee is meeting. We need to know that that UMass Amherst is still supporting this project. And she wrote back and said, we are still supporting this project. So, but no, I haven't had any more.
Did she offer a date to get together at all?
No.
We talked to her earlier and she was saying that they were too busy to meet.
Yeah. So, Alex, I know we had a little bit of exchange via email about this accessibility issue, and you have lots of experience with
Well,
it.
the comment, sorry, Julie.
And
Like kind of word dumping, but
yeah,
I don't know.
so one of the things that I've been thinking about is, if we're talking about this loop being accessible. And I just don't have a good concept of how much money it takes to do that. And if I were somebody evaluating this project, and it's 1.7 miles, it's almost 2 miles long. And I love it, but it is just going around. If I was gonna be like, what the hell, it's going around, and does the accessible trail need to be 1.7 miles, or could it be some subset of that?
Does it need to be
Yeah,
paved? Can
sure.
it still be gravel?
I think we still want the entire loop, but we
Mhm.
at one point had just even thought of it as being like a mode path kind of thing.
If it was a stone dust path,
Mm-hmm.
similar to the one in South Hadley
Mhm.
that we looked at, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Is that pretty inexpensive, you think, to do?
I'm sorry.
Do you think that, how much money would that cost?
Is it like crushed limestone kind of thing? That's what you're talking about?
It's, expensive, but
They're expensive. They're more expensive because of the maintenance of it. Like
Mhm.
to call it an accessible trail and use crushed limestone, which is just that, it, degrades. We have freeze thaw cycles because we're in the north. And so the long-term maintenance of like keeping those trails actually meet accessible standards is harder because you have to every few years you have to lay down some more crushed limestone and like make sure the edging and the pavers haven't moved if you do something like that. Also depends on like the soils and like what that's all doing. So I don't know if we're like super sandy here, but
Yeah.
that would be
it still would be
my guess.
possible to have a portion of it.
Yeah. But you could do, like
Out of
a
that
southern
kind of
path
thing.
as like an accessible.
So
So
we could
maybe the
just
northern
yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Here. And you lose like the scoring usually on the granite. Whereas
Yeah.
And are there different sort of categories of accessibility? Like if we have a parking lot across the street for somebody to be in a chair to get out, cross the street, and then get to the field.
All right, so like when we used to rate grants, right, there's like minimum ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act and Architectural Barriers Act standards, and then there's like what we call universal design, so exceeding those minimum thresholds and going above and beyond, and then like fully universal design. So like there would be tiers of that, right? And
Yeah.
so like across the street, like yes, it meets ADA minimum requirements. So like, you get like 2 points, but like someone who put the parking lot on that side with a full loop trail that's accessible for everybody and the full
Yeah.
thing, you get like 10. And if you only did like half the loop, maybe it'd be more like a 5 or a 7. You know what I mean? So like there's a gradation and like, is it actually accessible and universally accessible? Like, or is it just like,
Sure.
meeting the need and and it's fine, it's a good trail, it's not, it shouldn't be invested in, it's just
Yeah.
that category, maybe not score as higher.
And probably the higher scores, then you're eligible for more money.
Well, right,
Or
or you're more
grants.
likely to get your full funding,
Yeah.
which is kind of why like I kind of wonder if they just ran out of funding and this project was just a really good project, but some years, you get like 80 grant applications and some years you get 50. So like,
Mhm.
and sometimes, I don't know the funding mechanism at the state level, but we had a trust fund, so it was also based on the stock market. It was like another layer on there. So, right, like in 2021, we had like an extra 8 million we gave out versus like, things.
You say we,
I worked for Michigan Department of Natural Resources. So I was a recreation grant coordinator at the state level who evaluated on trail.
That's great.
The research.
That's why I said, I'm sorry, Julie, because there was like an essay back on like, did we ask him this? How did this go? How does this work? But I haven't had time to dig into all the mass trail stuff. Other projects we're doing.
Good expertise.
Yeah, I know.
so do you have a sense of the cost per, per mile for a universally accessible trail?
I don't know. I mean, it depends what you want to use, right? Like some people, I mean, most accessible is generally doing like asphalt or concrete. Because it lasts, the maintenance over time is less than like crushed limestone, but crushed limestone is significantly cheaper. There's some people starting to do like porous like trails, which is weird, but it's doable. Like they do it for tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's more like engineering and design that has to go into that.
It's really, yeah.
So it can get equally as expensive as asphalt.
Fresh limestone would be the
Yeah.
option that would be the
Yeah.
most appropriate and also acceptable to UMass in this situation. So
Yeah.
What is that, the Sunderland Riverwalk? Is that crushed limestone?
It's crushed stone.
It's crushed stone,
Yeah.
Oh.
and it's got
Yeah.
curves that hold the stone in.
I mean, for the field though, if we do the parking where the barn is, then it's not gonna be universally acceptable because you can't, cross it, you have to have legs to cross the street and
Except if you had a couple of parking spots for
Exactly.
handicap.
Handicap
Other
parking
side,
spots.
Yeah.
Which
we
would
could
be
ask for.
That's a good.
That would be great.
idea.
That's that's a very common solution is to
Yeah.
have just,
Yeah.
So, let us know what specific help we could provide.
I think, we might wanna, Julie, I mean, it may not have time for the full committee to do this, but you and I may wanna have a conversation again with Pete and Dick O'Brien, who's also a trails expert on Conservation Works, if you want. I can see if I can set that up as
That would be
you can
great.
do a Zoom thing or something. Because they've done these trails all over the state.
Yeah. And, we are still in this grant, we are not doing a construction grant.
that wasn't an issue.
As I see it, because we're just too early in the process for
Yeah.
that, and.
But they didn't say
But they
anything
didn't like
about that
design.
being
Yeah.
an
They
unimportant,
did not say,
negative.
well, Chris asked them, would we score higher if we were actually had a design for this? We were ready to go into construction. They said, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
but they didn't say unless you can, and I don't think we can get to the construction stage. Anyway, given the time frame and given that UMass is just being not responsive.
But they also told us the first time around that they wanted to see design plans before they could approve construction, and that the approval process for construction is much more complicated.
This is UMass or this is?
UMass
Okay.
administration, it's a
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
bureaucracy and very slow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a problem for us to deal with. I think there's no question that we have a very competitive application if we were doing construction. And I've been told that from other people other than Amanda, but you're right, we probably can't get there. So we
We can't even get a meeting, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that, Angie said that about that issue of the connector trail between
I think we should, that should not appear in this next
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, so you do think she was upset?
I don't know that she was upset. So this is that idea we had sort of towards the end of the process that there would be a connector trail between the two things.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like, ooh. We never talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about the field. We didn't talk about-
Yeah.
I think it would
Okay.
Yeah.
make sense for us to remove that from,
Well, it'd be ideal if we could talk to Angie in time to discuss that with her and
yeah,
get
she
her
might,
pay for it.
yeah.
Because it is an important piece, because it connects the river to the mountain.
Definitely.
Um,
Keeps people off the road.
But if we can't talk to her, I agree with you that. Leave it out just because it's a sensitive. topic.
I mean, yeah, anyway, we have that nice new parking lot
Mhm.
at North Hillside
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, that improved things considerably. With a big stump.
It's a big parking lot too. It's a good size.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go, but if you want me to, yeah, if there's anything else, I'll look over the notes and the things that I
Yeah.
submitted from last
I
time.
think we'll come up with a to-do list. And the other thing, the other last item that I would mention was, there would be, it would get us more traction if we had children involved
Mhm.
and adults, so. That would be, you know, contacting, teachers.
Like
and-
Stacy Chapley, who had us. Come talk to her.
Yeah.
What did, yeah.
Local teachers?
She's the environmental club.
Yeah. Environmental.
And the environmental club isn't really functional too
Hey,
much these days. I've tried to work with them a few times.
Yeah, my impression is it's.
We could put it in the application.
It is.
and-
See if she's got anybody at this point.
Yeah.
They have gone from like having 10 members to 2 to 1
Yeah.
to sometimes none. And,
Yeah.
For a while there, they were pushing
Yeah,
pretty well.
yeah.
I mean,
When we were doing the big climate forums, they were engaged with that.
oh yeah, those were. Yeah,
Anyway, we can ask her.
Maybe there's an environmental club at DA.
I mean, I think Jennifer
That's a good
Smith
question.
is a wonderful teacher at the elementary school. I've had contact with her from Deerfield Inclusion Group and
What grade does she do?
Jennifer Smith. I wanna say she's second grade, but, yeah, I could kind of reach out
That would
to
be
her.
great.
Anybody know scouting? Scouting?
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
good, actually.
There used to be a troop right in.
So,
town. I don't think
this is a good, that may be a good question for Amy Battisti. Her daughter I know was a scout, Girl Scout. We can ask.
Meryl has,
I'm sorry, say again?
I said, I think Meryl actually has
Oh.
kids here in North. I think that's over in Gabby Cross.
Okay.
Well, that would be nice. And how about our.
Or maybe Gabby, maybe she knows something.
Okay.
Mm,
Maybe Holly too, our child librarian, the children's librarian.
Well, the library would be a really easy way.
Yeah,
Get them engaged.
right, and she's in touch.
So you would just we just need to identify somebody who is
So,
affiliated
I
with
guess-
Scouts?
Yeah, I mean, so the idea is what would we be, what would they be signing up for? So I think, depending on age,
Like programming for the trail or like?
yeah, like,
Or it could be like, scouts to do an annual cleanup.
Volunteering.
yeah, so depending on age, it could be volunteering to, to do,
Eagle
trail
Scouts do
maintenance
benches even. I've
and
seen
things
that.
like that,
Mhm.
or, I think we could also talk about, this would be,
Weed control.
pardon?
Weed control.
Weed control and basic.
No, I'm thinking about integrating lesson plans,
Yeah.
around the Pecumtuck, bringing your kids up there, learning about the
Yeah,
Pecumtuck.
social studies and environmental studies.
Yeah, so I think that's both either through the teachers bringing the children or the, just staying, like like the dino map, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like places to go and things to see, and how did plans that would draw children and adults to know and recognize and use these resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus and or be volunteers to help support.
Yeah, I've had several conversations with Lori who helped with the climate summit.
Usada?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who
Mm.
teaches
Yeah.
biology at Chicopee and has some, good ideas about how to kind of
Mhm.
bring, integrate lesson plans and bring kids outside and yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that would,
At,
those are some ideas.
at DES, I worked with the teachers there to have students design signs for the rain gardens that we built.
Mm.
And so the kids got really engaged and we did some classroom engagement and some presentations and talked to kids about climate change. And then they made these different diagrams and signs and
Mhm.
things. And we used a bunch of them in the actual, constructed rain gardens.
Oh, that's
So
great.
you could do some educational stuff like that.
Mhm.
So can you talk about that as what's happened in the past? Is that helpful?
No, I think it's gotta be.
No, it's gotta
what's
be
gonna
full
happen
of-
It's more like a pattern of what would.
Yeah, these are the things that
Yeah, okay.
be done.
Yeah,
this opportunity affords, really, opportunities afforded to do these
Mhm.
specific things.
right.
Who would know the scouting situation?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask Amy Batista.
You're gonna do that?
I know, because of her daughter. I got the Girl Scouts to stuff letters for my nonprofit 1 year, 2 years. So I don't know. I will.
There used to be a scout troop that we met in 1888.
Yes, the girls. Yes, I went and talked to them. That's how I got into.
Is there a
doing
Boy
it.
Scouts too?
A Boy
Boy
Scout
Scouts
troop,
too?
Boy
But
Scout
it's
troop,
not there anymore.
not there anymore. I don't even think there's one.
You're right.
I think Greenfield may be
Girl Scouts. I'm just,
Mhm.
okay.
Bye, y'all.
Okay,
Bye,
thanks,
Doug. Yeah.
So. What do we, what's our bottom line? Our bottom line is. We need to make up a list. Yeah. Once I can do that when I get home. And so in all of these areas, there's many things that people could be gathering information on. And, to put this together. Everything needs to happen at once, basically, the
Mhm.
maps, the narrative, the thinking about the equity presentation, the indigenous presentation, the kids and adults and bringing people in. Part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to encompass all that in like a few sentences, right?
It's not that huge of a hill to climb.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Right? Just, I don't, you go and reach out to all these people and I'm like, where's our sentence in our grant,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think it sounded like you guys had a great application, I just wondered if the funding or we.
It was a huge amount of applications.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
The
So,
problem is they get more every year.
yeah, well, true, and the
That's
costs go
right.
up, and so the grant dollars go less far too. which is-
It's amazing how much now, well, of course, we're attuned to it, but how many county and city town projects are. People are talking about improving the trail
Right.
Mhm.
visibility, accessibility.
Sure.
Well, pandemic kind of
It's
highlighted
good.
that, I think.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And hopefully we have had an exchange with the folks at DCR, the Trails people in Northampton. Hopefully we'll be able to talk with them, and they sort of came back and said, well, first of all, they thought we were asking to have them approve us doing trails on DCR land. That was just a misunderstanding.
Mm.
Yeah,
But then they came back and said, what is it that you would like to collaborate with us on? And I said, oh, it's anywhere from you just thinking it's a great idea, our project's a great idea and saying so, to maybe we work together in the future. Maybe you're interested in funding, you know,
Some
working with
ideas
us
that-
on, there are a lot of, like the park grants and other grants that are out there. And so Mass Trails isn't our only option to go
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you more about that, what our ask is. But I
Yeah,
didn't want to do it in that email. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to come check in with you a
what do you
little bit.
think our ask should be?
Well, I mean, this could be potentially part of the Connecticut River Greenway State Park,
Sure.
for one thing,
Sure.
you know, as an add-on, and it would be a good one, you
Mhm.
know. We could ask them for potentially a role in maintenance of it. We could
Mhm.
um, advertise it as sort of part of the Sugarloaf Pecumtuck Connecticut River Greenway Complex or something, you know.
Mhm.
There's lots of different things, ways we could get at this, but I'd like to kind of get them on board as a more actual partner.
Yeah,
It's really.
good
what-
point, yeah. Yeah, I wanted to sort of start small.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good idea, but
But, yeah, I would think if I was running that program, and I said, hey, we would have an opportunity to have a trail along.
it's
pretty big.
if Terry Blunt was still there.
Yeah.
He'd be all over.
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
Oh, for sure,
Around.
yeah, yeah.
Anything like that. So
Yeah.
just thinking about if they, they're paying money, I'm still trying to figure out how we can get money out of Eversource. If they could help fund the design. I don't know if
They have
Eversource,
community grants. I mean,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
What did you say?
Eversource.
their own foundation,
Mhm.
most big utilities do.
Mhm. I know they gave me money for the my
That's
meal program,
interesting.
so
What kind of money are we talking about though?
I don't know what would it cost to do the design.
Well,
That's
we have a
where-
budget.
Yeah, so and so that just,
It's like 5,000 or something. It's a number that sticks in my head. Might be more than what Eversource has.
I think it would be fabulous if we could end up being the just a generator
Yeah.
of this relationship between DCR and UMass to do something like this.
Mhm.
Because this would be, we don't have any infrastructure in Deerfield right now to manage.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Eversource does maintain their easements. Maybe they'd be willing to help with, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out ways to get money out of them.
Yeah, they do actually have.
They have a very big easement just north of where this trail is.
Yes, right behind my house.
Clean energy and environmental.
That's right, it goes right over the hill.
One of the things is. Jason Pro. Further.
Through Eversource?
What kind of money?
Mm. Oh, in 2024, they contributed 70 million.
You know, if we
Wait a
can,
minute, 1,000 to 10,000.
1,000 to 10?
at 10,000, what do we have, our matching rate, would they up it to 18?
Well, and if you're doing like an actually universally designed trail, I mean, sometimes like MOD, the Office of Disability, sometimes has grants they could use, but I think befriending DCR and all this stuff is gonna be your best bet. Like,
Yeah,
that's why I said, if you're gonna have a conversation with them, like. I can go and at least talk to, like, say, yeah, the town's totally in support of this, not just like.
I'm gonna, that'll be our first thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
To, get back in touch with them and say, hey, about that meeting.
Well, and if Eversource wants to square their piece of land, they like to
That's right.
contribute.
Little quid pro quo here.
Why not?
And about that, piece of,
$10,000, that's not, that's chump change for those kinds of
yeah, totally.
places.
Yeah, well, yeah, they've got, I mean, their foundation art looks like it's multiple states.
Yeah, but still.
You know, if we got 10,000 from Eversource and the 18,000 from the CPC, we'd probably do the design for the.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the CBC won't,
CBC, no,
they won't
yeah.
allow us to spend it unless it's in the context of
We'd have to get
Trails.
another
getting
18,000.
mass trails.
Any grant.
No.
Yeah.
But no, but if we had additional sources of funding,
Yes, everything counts as a match.
Yeah,
No, they, Kathy already said we have been, creative in asking that question.
I mean, is there not a UMass like engineering or landscape architects?
There is a
that
landscape.
wants to like.
there is landscape.
yeah, but they want to be paid. We went and talked to them at the architecture school at one point and said, sure, if you could throw us, $25,000, then we could.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
No, thank you.
Much.
There
And I-
there are
and-
studios in landscape architecture that would possibly do this.
Right, so that's what we were thinking about, possibly getting their help in the park.
If we don't get the next grant, I guess I consider going that way.
Well, or you just write a revised CPA application.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
going to it.
Right. I mean, the other consideration for this CPC is we're asking for that conservation fund, and there's a limit on
Yeah.
how much we can will look good or will be deemed reasonable for open space.
Yeah,
Given
I know,
there's
we got,
multiple categories.
and since we've got none for a long time.
Well, no, actually, we found it having gotten as much as anybody, really, because the north.
Oh,
the
North Main Street piece of property.
Acquisition.
Yeah.
And then there was at least one or two, the common, Southfield Common, comes as open
Okay.
space, so.
Yeah.
Which
And the
hasn't-
report, historical has gotten the most money, but open space isn't far behind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of those really big guys. So, what do you
That
think?
are sitting languishing.
Yeah, what do you think of January 5th versus January 12th? I'm favoring January 5th because it's
Oh, for next meeting.
further out yet.
Oh, yeah.
right?
I won't.
Oh, January 5th is planning board.
This planning board, but that's at 6:30.
Oh,
There are
true.
many a time I have
True.
run from. this
Run
room
from
to
here to
that
there.
room. So if
I
you,
think I'm good for the 5th, I think.
you're gonna do
You're
where?
okay, Chris, there?
Oh, yeah, I can do it the 5th too.
Okay, let's do the 5th.
Did we, let's see, did I put down both the 5th and the
Same
12th? No,
Same time, 5 to 5:30.
yeah. All right,
Yeah, I think.
so
Excuse me.
Alex, so how this works is that you'll have the
Oh, yeah.
recording,
Yeah,
run through and then pass that on to me. and-
yeah. It summarizes notes and like, almost like a 4 or 5
Yes,
page Word
yes, it's
document.
huge, yeah.
It's like a little intimidating.
Yeah, so,
But again, mostly.
Did you cut it down
you
quite a
just
bit?
take Stuff out.
yeah,
Yeah.
did you cut it down quite a bit, Andrea, then?
And that's what I recall.
Well, that's, we're,
Yeah.
and you know who the, which AI it's using, or?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Favorite
favorite you
AI?
have.
So, would somebody offer a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yes,
I offer a motion to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you all. Yeah, called Zoom AI Companion, that's all it's called, I don't know if there's like an underlying like association.
So is it okay if I just end the meeting?
Yep.
Perfect.